What's up YouTube, it's your boy Nash here, welcome back to the channel, and for today's WWE news video, there is a lot to talk about, including the latest on the most recent update of Sasha Banks' contract. Wonder if she will stay with WWE, who knows? A potential match at Summerslam. What match will that be? And will it take place? Rumors of Queen Zelina's return to WWE. And this first one that I'm going to be talking about is apparently there's been a surprise NXT superstar getting called up to the main roster? What the fuck? Who is it? It is none other than Sanga. If you guys do not remember Sanga, or do not know who Sanga is, he was once the muscle of Grayson Waller, and apparently Grayson Waller ditched him. And now Sanga has been at it on his own, going up against the best of the best, including guys like Zion Quinn, Wes Lee, just some incredible talent, and now apparently he's being called up to the main roster. Apparently according to PW Insider, big shout out, no copyrights as always, he was apparently backstage on SmackDown last week, and while it doesn't confirm anything at all, it's been speculating that he could be leaving NXT to go to SmackDown. And for those who do not know, he was originally known as Sarov, who had paired off, who had been teaming with Rinku, known as AKA Veer Mahan, known as Indu Sher. They debuted in NXT in March of 2020 with Malcolm Bivens, who I guess now is with AEW. Social media, I always check. And Bivens was the mouthpiece to Indu Sher, and their run together was kind of short. Because of the fact that supposedly Sanga ended up spoiling the big NXT title match, which was between Adam Cole and Keith Lee, where it was champion versus champion, title for title, and Keith Lee ended up winning that matchup, and thus that was where Sanga spoiled it. Supposedly that was the case, but regardless, we knew that Rinku had joined up with Jinder Mahal on Raw and Shanky, and we all know that Sarov ended up being transformed, repackaged as Sanga, and he had resurfaced on NXT this past January, and apparently he's been, apparently he has, apparently he has, struck a friendship with Wes Lee after the matchup not too long ago. So, this ties into the big question, could we see him on the main roster? It's a possibility, but there are three different routes that WWE could potentially take. Hang on, guys, I gotta move my... There we go. Sorry guys, I had to move my face cam a bit. There we go. Anyway, there are three possible outcomes that could that could happen by having Sanga go into the main roster. The first thing is he aligns himself with Jinder Mahal and Shanky, which is one possibility. The second possibility is Jinder Mahal offers his teachings to Sanga and he declines it completely, or he stays on SmackDown for a few weeks and then jumps ships to Raw and then realigns himself with Veer Mahan to reform Indus but keep the names of Veer and Sanga, which is a possibility, but we won't know until we can truly confirm whether or not he'll be coming up to the main roster, which is a possibility, but we don't really know. It's hard to say, but I can tell you one thing right now. On NXT, he's been pretty vocal, but he's also been dominant in the ring on NXT as well. So who knows? Who knows whether or not he'll be up on the main roster or not. It all depends. But with that being said, we do need to move on to the next topic. Queen Zelina possibly returning to WWE. So we know that she's been out of action, recovering from surgery, which we don't really, in which I'm gonna find out what surgery she had. Let's see. It does not say. It doesn't say what her injury was. Let's see. Oh, I guess not. Well, apparently she needed surgery and she was going to be out for about 6 to 11 weeks or something like that. And now apparently we now know when she'll be coming back, or rather if she'll come back. So we know that Zelina Vega, Queen Zelina, has not been in WWE since losing to Bianca Belair on April 11th. Back in April on Raw, and where she had lost to Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair, and then this past Monday on Raw, a fan took to Twitter and noted that he wanted to see Queen Zelina back in the ring, and she decided to take to Twitter. She replied back to that tweet saying, quote, "Aw, I know my loyal subjects, Purple Heart." I think it's a Purple Heart. Is that a Purple Heart? Yes, it is a Purple Heart. I thought so. "Your queen will return soon. I promise. I am simply allowing the humans to have their fun for now." Apparently she's supposed to have been out for about 6 to 8 weeks, maybe even longer. I don't know, but all I can tell you is that when she does come back, get ready, because Queen Zelina is coming back with a vengeance. She is coming hard, people. But here's the thing, though. Here's my thinking on this whole thing. Yes, I'll admit it. Yeah, she works so well as a heel, but in my personal opinion, I feel like she could work even better as a babyface, which is a possibility. And judging by that tweet, is possible we could see her as a babyface, which is a possibility, but who knows? Who knows? But all I can tell you is that she will be back soon, but we don't know exactly when. With that being said, we have an update on a potential match at SummerSlam, but what is that match? What is it? What match could we see in Nashville, Tennessee. It is none other than the match between Seth Freakin Rollins and the original bro, Riddle. You guys are wondering how this came about. It came about from this past Monday on Raw, where Riddle faced off against Omos, in a Money in the Bank qualifying match, which Omos ended up winning, and then Seth Rollins gave him a stomp not once but twice, and said to Riddle, "Suck on that, bro." So as far as the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, we know that it'll be Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, and now Omos. That is quite the all-star lineup, because you have three former world champions and a former tag team champion. That right there has the makings of a historic matchup, to say the very least. And apparently, according to Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer, big shout out, no copyrights as always, he said, quote, "I didn't think he was going to win, but I didn't think that it was going to be tree slam, and then another tree slam, and then Rollins would lay him out." And obviously the idea is, with Cody out, that Rollins, who is top heel on the brand, probably is going to be doing a program with Riddle, and there's nothing wrong with that. The curb stomp thing by Seth, that didn't bother me. Everything with Omos was just ridiculous. I just can't even fathom it. It makes no sense at all, but Rollins is in Money in the Bank, so he's not going to be wrestling Riddle on this pay-per-view anyway, so I guess it's to start a feud for SummerSlam. So we know who the men's Money in the Bank ladder match participants are, but we also know who will be in the women's match as well. Lacey Evans from SmackDown, Alexa Bliss and Liv Morgan both from Raw, Raquel Rodriguez from SmackDown, and Asuka from Raw. That leaves what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That leaves what, 2, maybe 3 more spots remaining in the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. And so we know that this Friday on SmackDown it'll be Shotzi versus Aaliyah. in a Money in the Bank qualifying match for this Friday on SmackDown, but we don't know who else will be in it. We don't really know. It's a possibility there could be one from NXT, which is a possibility, but who knows? But Riddle versus Rollins, I would love to see that, especially if Seth freaking Rollins does win the men's Money in the Bank. It's a possibility that Riddle could challenge Rollins to that briefcase at SummerSlam, which is a possibility, but we don't really know. We don't know all the details. All we know is that it's a possibility we could see this match. It's basically a clash of two different styles. It's basically speed and agility versus technical and submission. Excuse me. So it all comes down to who has more grit, if you will, and who knows? Who knows? Only time will tell. But we do need to move on to our last topic of this video, the update on Sasha Banks' contract, and apparently, according to Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer, big shout out, no copyrights. He said, quote, The only thing that I have been told is that they are negotiating right now. I don't know that the negotiation is final. I know that it's been written in media reports that it is. The last I asked, which would have been 2 days ago, it was not final, but it wouldn't shock me if it happened this week. So apparently, if you guys do not remember, and I talked about it before, there was supposed to have been excuse me. There was supposed to have been a fatal 5-way match where the winner would face Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's title at Hell in a Cell, which would have been between Becky Lynch, Asuka, Doudrop, Nikki ASH, and the women's tag team champions back then, Naomi and Sasha Banks. Banks and Naomi ended up walking out, leaving the women's tag team titles on the desk of John Laurinaitis, who was once again the executive, who was once again the head of talent relations, supposedly he got caught in a shuffle with Vince. I'm not gonna say what it is. I'm sure you guys probably had figured it out on social media. And apparently the two ladies were citing their unhappiness with upcoming creative plans for them, which I guess meant them losing the titles to a tag team. I don't know. It's quite possible, but not only did they suspend Banks and Naomi, but they were also stripped of the titles, and they were removed from all merchandise from WWEshop.com, which is crazy. But again, don't get it twisted. Yes, it is true that I do side with Banks and Naomi, and the fact that I wanted to see them defend those titles against every tag team under the sun. But the fact that WWE wanted to just instantly take the titles off of Banks and Naomi, I mean to be fair, that's the point of being a champion. It's the fact that you defend the titles at all costs against anyone, anywhere, anytime. That's the thing. And you and I, you guys know, we all know it is a fact. But apparently as it was being said, it was reported, before that Banks was no longer with WWE, but apparently her contract is currently being negotiated, which honestly, her staying on SmackDown staying in WWE would be beneficial for WWE, because now with Charlotte Flair out because of her marriage, and with Ronda Rousey showing up every once in a while, Sasha Banks has to be the top babyface on SmackDown. It's just that simple. In fact, the only babyfaces that are on SmackDown currently are Aaliyah, Raquel Rodriguez, and Ronda Rousey. Those are the only three. Natalya, Shayna Baszler, and Shotzi are the three that are the heels of SmackDown. In fact, I think they're the and there's also Sasha, Naomi, and Charlotte Flair. But still, if Sasha Banks does return, her and Ronda must be the top baby faces of SmackDown, and Naomi should be the top heel of SmackDown, aligning herself with the Bloodline. That way, she can go after the SmackDown Women's title again, she can go after the Raw Women's title again. And then the Bloodline can truly have all the gold, which is a possibility, but who knows what will happen. But that brings me to the question of the day: should Sasha Banks stay with WWE? Let me know down in the comments below, and that will do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want to see more WWE news videos, which typically get posted on Thursdays, sometimes on weekends, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you guys do not miss out on any new content that comes your way. And make sure you guys follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. All the links will be in the description below. And if you guys have any fan mail that you guys want to send me and you guys want me to open it up on the channel, all the info will be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.